Welcome to Maker's Perspective. Here I'm going to be making a cylinder, specifically the cylinder in the middle. I'm going to use that as my starting point, and then we'll be making the wider one and then the taller one. For this specific series of all vessels, we all start the same. Here is my single start bubble. Marvering out that cylinder and then popping a little bit of air. And then finishing its shaping with the jacks. Just making sure it's a little bit more blown out. And then using the paddle into the jacks and trying to just ensure some thickness right in the bottom of it. Just using the fan just a little bit to cool the bubble. And then here I am taking my cap. I plunge my bubble into the furnace and stop at the end of the moil. Then about 2 revolutions and then gradually come out. For the first blocking, I always touch the whole piece from the moil to the end of the bubble. And then a good heat on the glory hole. Now when blocking, I'll take it and I touch a little bit more of the tip. Have JW blow and then stretch it out. Give it a swing and I have a slight tube. I'm now at the marver marvering, specifically the bottom of the piece. I gradually come down to what would be the shoulder area. So now I have a reservoir of thickness in the bottom and it's thinner up towards the pipe. Now I hang it down.
What's up?
You can see the thickness at the bottom and start inflation. Once I have the shoulder blown out a bit, then I'll start the jack line. I'm about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch off the pipe. You can see at this point, it's basically a sphere. I also, on a cylinder, pretty much take the jack line down about as far as I want it.
Stop.
In the glory hole, I flashed the whole piece, but I've come back, and I'm just heating the bottom 3/4. The easiest way to think about a cylinder is wherever the diameter is that you want the end piece to be is on that shoulder. So that's where you heat it to. So you heat it to that area on the shoulder, and then it'll drop out from there, maintaining that widest part. I can start the process by hanging it in the glory hole, and you can see essentially that it's dropped out from that area of the shoulder into kind of a conical form. Then, by placing my jacks on that shoulder and having JW blow, I can inflate the piece into my jacks, kind of like a mold. When using my jacks, I push and I pull the piece away and back towards me. That also allows me to come on and off the piece when I change directions. That way, I don't get a flat tire. You can also see a little bit of the thickness that's still in the bottom of the cup. Now that I have my blow hose on, I'm ready for the bottom. Basically, just the very bottom needs to be heated. I'll put my jack blades on the side of the piece as a reference point and slightly blow. Basically, don't want to mess up any of the top section of the glass. I can finish it off more easily that way on the punty. Flash, last little heat, and here you'll see me placing my jacks, and then JW comes in with a paddle. The paddle's on the bottom, and you can see I get a nice squared off cylinder. He doesn't ride right up against the jacks, so he doesn't bump them, and allows me to choose the width. I like that thickness, the watermark on my bottom edge. Now I take my paddle and give it just a slight indentation or a kick. Now it's just flashing and getting ready for the punty. I take my cane, mark the bottom, and then torch that neck and shoulder area. Just generally touching on the punty, finding where it wiggles, and pushing down to straighten it. Then grabbing a drop of water. Again, I put a drop of water on the moil just to not spill water everywhere. That way I can get a nice precise drop right on the jack line. Sometimes I place my tweezers on the moil of the piece just to warm them. Once the piece is back, I'll put one blade on the inside and one blade on the outside. Turn away from me, and when I see the high side, I lift up, push down, and bring the piece back towards me, and then rotate away. Once satisfied, then I'll go in and flash the whole piece, and now just concentrate on the lift. The bottom 3/4 of the piece is complete. I just need to worry about that top quarter. Too many times people will heat too deep and mess up what they've already worked hard at getting. Always flash before you come back out.
And that was my father.
That should be good without you having to touch the trim or do anything, so just stay back.
You got it.
The next one, I'll probably have you bring that
I'll
camera
grab my tweezers, bring the piece close to me, and tweeze from the top as I'm rolling away. Once I've pulled it out a bit, then I'll come in at a slight angle and then feed the glass into my shears. Essentially, I'm just rotating the piece into my shears as I trim, making sure to squeeze the blades together. Once trimmed, I do not want to overheat the piece, just a quick heat. Too much heat and I thicken it up. So just a quick heat, paddle on the lip, jacks on the inside. Just open it up a bit. Now I'm ready to Sophie. With cylinders, I generally Sophie them twice. I'll flash the piece, and then I just heat up that top area, and then blow out the top a bit. Just to heat and inflate. Kind of see how it's all rounded out at the top now. This next time, I'll be taking my jacks on the outside and then lift open the lip a bit more.
Paddle. On.
Here you can see there's just that top maybe 7/8 of the cup that I need to complete. So I'll go back and flash and then heat up that top area. On this move, I'll grab my jacks, ride them on the outside so it's not to blow up anything outside of that area, and then grab the Sophie and have JW blow. I place the jacks on the outside for that move so we can't expand it past that already established width. Now the lip still has a little bit of closure. Just need to lift it open just a bit more. So flash and then just heating up that very lip edge. On the outside and then on the inside. Jacks in, lift, while also slightly opening up my hands. All the way back to make sure it's open. Probably about one heat now from finishing it. All the way open, and then once on the outside, make sure that it's all on the same plane. And there you have a cylinder.
Alrighty.
Now I'm torching the connection so that it breaks off nice and clean. I'll flash the piece nice and deep past the first burner. Put a drop of water right on the connection. And I generally like to tap off cylinders on a piece of wood right on the bench so that it stands nice and straight because of the straight lip. Torch out the sharp marks, and we're done with that cylinder. Stay tuned for the longer and the wider cylinders. Thanks for watching Maker's Perspective.